Boom. Okay, sick. So, yep, that is a timer. Great. Not counting down, but counting up from 0. Yeah, Zard Dog, we are going to go over your set with potatoes here. Knuckles, and then plot twist, you kind of whoop his butt, so he has to go Ganon. I didn't mute the VOD. That's what I forgot to do. I feel better. So there's a lot to get through with this, and this will be a little front-loaded by the nature of having more to say at the beginning than at the end, but I do want to make sure we have time to talk about Ganon a fair bit, so I'm going to try to catch myself if I start rambling. So I think these are 10-second intervals. So the first thing that I want to commend you for, I think this is really good, you do a very good job of baiting out options like horizontally by, like, say, dash away, short hop bear, short hop nair, things like that.
Yeah.
It's really, really useful when you're competing against these very fast characters. I mean, Knuckles isn't like the fastest character in the game, but can definitely play that left-right game and aggress on you in that way. But you don't. A lot of your punish and a lot of your pressure is delayed because you're jumping first. So instead of, how you'll see Marths in Melee or, in PM even, they'll dash away and then dash back and grab. That's directly punishing. So let me actually move forward to where I can get a good screen cap of you doing this. So here, this is a good example. So Knuckles had come in with Nair, and you had dashed away, and now, instead of being able to get a punish or contest this jab, you're trying to punish the option he picks after landing. Because short hop bear, short hop nair, those are too slow to punish the landing lag or hit him before the jab comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving the opponent another opportunity to press a button, to buffer spot dodge, to dash away, when you're picking these slower, safer options. And by itself, there's nothing wrong with, especially at higher percents where you get a lot of stage or get a combo off nair, there's nothing wrong with going for these safer options where you're at the range you want to be at, even if they dash away or they do something else. But it is going to limit how much Potatoes cares about doing short hop nair. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So if he short hop nairs and you don't punish him for it,
he knows I'm not going to immediately punish.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So here, let's say in this specific instance, you didn't hit him for this jab, but if you hit him with a bear here, you would have been punishing his jab, not his nair. His nair was just movement that you called out.
Right.
So he's not going to stop doing the thing that isn't getting him hit. As a defender, Zard's a big character. Zard has some problems with proactive defense. Jab's really good, but aside from that, you have your ground speed. So if you can't get these characters to stop short hopping at you, you're going to be playing on this back foot for a little more time than you want. It also keeps you from being able to control the opponent's spacing, because if you're not hitting them for their movement, they're going to keep moving. But if you hit them for this jump in, for instance, they're going to have to think twice about that, and they're not going to be jumping in as much, which gives you the opportunity to come in here with your offense. You don't have to wait for them to whiff to get pressure. You can aggress on them a little bit more. That kind of makes sense?
So I guess I'm trying to think of alternatively, I would just turn around and grab them out of their.
Yeah.
So what is?
So for your faster options.
What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean by
here
being able to aggress on them? I guess.
So these are your slower, usually safer options. For your faster options, let's say you wanted to punish a shuffle nair or something. You have pivot jab, pivot tilt. Those are kind of hard. But you also have pivot grab, either melee pivot or brawl pivot. Let me get rid of this now as well. Brawl Pivot Grab is easier to perform, and you're going to be running away as you do it, so it's a little safer. But Melee Pivot Grab gives you another option to control your spacing when you don't slide away. Mm. So if you don't showcase these, then this jab, Potatoes and your opponents are going to be able to just do an option after they land to try to interrupt your whatever you are doing. You're going to give them a chance to press another button to make another decision before you have to actually interact with them. Does that kind of make sense?
It does, yeah, it does. I think I want to just maybe see more examples throughout the set.
Gotcha. That case.
Like just moments where I could have done something different, I guess. Yeah.
Gotcha. I have a few of these written down, primarily in the first game. Actually, yeah, the next one is... Okay, I don't trust myself to be able to do this on the Twitfod. So there, that was the pivot grab. Or not the run back in grab, rather. So...
Yeah.
Oh boy. Twitchfods. Instead of... Let me see if I can get this right. Instead of him getting this jab out, this time Potatoes gets the jab out. For this one, he fully doesn't... What a screen cap. He fully doesn't have time to get the jab out. He doesn't have the chance to make another significant decision after he lands here.
Mm-hmm. So to set those up, is that just a spacing thing on my end? Or is that like, am I conditioning him with my short hop bears to then think that he's safe to be at a certain distance? Or I guess like how does this actually get implemented into as an option? Makes sense?
Yeah. So the good news is you're doing the hard part. You're calling out when he's jumping into you already. So this is just purely talking about what decision you're going for after that. So if you think he's going to short hop Nair here, for instance, you're already, going away to be safe at that spacing. This is talking about the different options to either come back and counterattack, to maybe like pressure in some way. And for the most part, Charizard, your faster options are going to have to be grab or pivots, because you don't have the jump squat or the aerial frame data to like Marth could pivot forward air, because that's just a thing he can do because he's fast, but you can't. That being said, though, your grab range is still very good. Your aerials are still very threatening, and your throws are still very threatening as well, especially at higher percents. When you hit about 80, 90, and back throw becomes a very important thing to remember in neutral for them. Once they start missing, if your opponent's missing DI and back throw, eventually that's going to interrupt their that's going to be on their mind every time they jump.
Yeah.
Or it's not going to be. You can keep doing it. So it's kind of a win-win.
I love getting a back throw fair. Nothing better.
It's because they know the instant they get thrown. Like, shit.
It's common.
Yeah, so that throw right there, that gets you so much. Not only do you defend yourself successfully, but hey, he's off stage. This is something we're going to talk about later. This is... Knuckles, to a certain extent, you have to respect, but especially against Ganon, you can't just be camping the ledge here when they're off stage. You got to go bully them. Also, gosh dang it. So we're talking about kind of getting stuck under Knuckles, because this comes up a fair bit, especially with Knuckles, because this spring. So here, he can't glide after spring. So his basic options are going to be to hit you in some way as he comes down, or to not hit you and to kind of get you stuck in shield. The option you pick here is to kind of try to run out of the corner. But this is a rare opportunity where he has no options. He has to, exactly where he's going to be. You more or less know exactly, he's going to press dare, because what else would he press? So you have all the stars are aligned. You can use Zard's really good anti-airs.
Yeah.
Because the downsides of the startup and needing to know where they're going to be are kind of solved for you in this instance.
I did realize after the set that like can interrupt a ton of the things he's doing on the way down. I thought his dig was like extremely dangerous on the way down, but it's really not. But yeah, just when he's above me like that, I just have to something nair or
Yeah.
up air. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good one too. You could just go meet him in the air.
Yeah.
So these are all a little more proactive, and they're harder to get used to because these are your go-to anti-air is not up tilt normally because the spacing is very specific and up tilt's very teeny. But when the situation comes up, just tossing that out here really cuts out his options because he has to just land on it. And then he has no resources. You can do your up air strings. I really like the way you use your late hit up airs, by the way. That's going to come up later in the set, but it's very fun tech traps.
Yeah.
But because you chose to dash away, unfortunately, that tail gets hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad.
And that's something you got to remember. That like dash away is very good. Your dash speed's very solid, but that's something that's going to get you clipped in situations like these where you have to remember sometimes even if your threat zone isn't over there, you do have a hurt box. Okay, actually, yeah, this nair right here is a really good example of interception, like I was talking earlier. These proactive options. So in this one, he doesn't even land. He goes for the shuffle nair. You don't even grab him for it. You fully just nair him out of the air here. This is the kind of thing that will stick with a player and get them to go, oh, I got hit for trying to short hop at them. I'm going to intentionally hesitate or mix something up or do something else. And that's where...
I feel like that's where I get beat a ton. It's like, come out with my first, like, in the first moment I come out with an option and they're just not even coming at me, but I'm still throwing it out. And then suddenly I'm, they whiff punish me.
Gotcha. That is, I think that's very much a Zard habit because you have to be halfway through the move already to intercept people like this. Like, Zard's got some good moves, not a lot of fast ones.
Yeah, or just super laggy.
Yeah.
If I'm off by a little bit on that nair, then I'm done.
Yeah. But
it worked that time.
if you can realize when people are starting to do that, that means they're not moving. Or you at least know when they're moving. So instead of this arc, let's say if Potatoes wanted to bait this out, he might delay this by a quarter of a second. Well, that gives you time to move around. That gives you time to set up what you're going to set up. So maybe instead of this back-facing neutral jump, you could do a short hop forward. And you still have the option to cover that short hop. Excuse me. But you don't have to try to call out their movement every single time once they start mixing it up. Because if you do that, then you stop moving. And then the game becomes, okay, when is Charizard eventually going to press the button? Because Charizard, if they're not moving, will have to press a button.
Definitely. That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, getting stuck in one place is usually not very good. And in neutral, you have that down pat. You're really good about staying mobile. And that's something we can talk about with Ganon a little bit more when we get to it. I think you could honestly stand to shield a little bit more, just because it's a very important option. But staying mobile is really, really useful. So when you're locked into intercepting them or reacting to their movement, that means that you're going to be in a predictable position, and then that's something they can pick up on and then just, fiddle with the timing of the movement, fiddle with like the exact spacing, because you're basically assuming, you're estimating where they'll be based on, short hop nair goes this far. My nair, I should be here to interact with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But as you start moving, like this pink arrow, if Knuckles is here, and you're expecting this short hop nair, then you're going to stay in place and space around this. But sometimes you're going to have to run at them. Because if they're expecting you to, expect them to short hop Nair, he's getting a little bit wide in front of me, but if they're trying to call out your reactive or proactive Nair like this, then they're going to be in the same spot, the same way that you're looking for an approach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Their counter to my countering their approach is to not immediately approach.
Right. Which then means that even without like the best like attributes and moves for it in the world, you can still implement a lot of pressure by like a short hop. Let me get this arrow a little cleaner. With stuff like a short hop towards them here. And now all of a sudden, go ahead.
Just a short hop or a short hop aerial?
Short hop aerial, empty short hop. You have all of your options.
Yeah.
Instead of having to defend against what they're doing, you are now basically pressuring them into defense when they weren't ready for it. And this is the kind of situation where a lot of the times, pretty much every character, if they realize this too late, they'll have to shield. Which then really limits their options. You have grab on the table because they can't easily move. A lot of characters only have like maybe 2 significant options out of shield offensively. So like you have roll, spot dodge, wave dash out for some characters is significant. And then you have like, okay, some characters have up B, some characters have like a good Nair or fair or bear, but usually not all 3. So like Zard, for instance, your out of shield game has a big hole in front of you. Like if you're in this shield, right?
Yeah, it's really not great.
It's going to be like, this is a big gap right here. So as long as they stay out of shield grab and Nair out of shield, then it's really easy to bully your shield. You can do the same thing to them, right? Like Knuckles fair out of shield isn't fast. Nair isn't huge. His shield grab is about average. Bear isn't huge. Up air isn't huge. Like you can really force them into defensive options. And then those defensive options are where you can kind of get your bigger starters, right? If you're bullying someone in shield and you've been doing this, that's where you can choose to make a read on, I think they're going to roll in. Let me dare over here. Because that's your big, like, you're dead at 50 button.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to, if that all makes sense, I do want to kind of keep going, though. I'm starting to ramble.
Let's keep going. Let's do it.
And we're running out of, no, we're not running out of time. We're like 15 in, but like, I'm running out of, I know myself better than to, there it is. I know myself better. I need to give myself some extra time. So see, like options like that, where you punish what they do after landing, they can be very high reward, but you just need to have more than the one option. Like when you catch him on that was the approaching Nair jab, you dared him for it as a punish, which is great, but you punish the jab. So being able to have this kind of like punish the option afterwards, intercept, aggress on your own, as you kind of show more of these options, your other 2, so let's say if this is a triangle, right? So you have intercept. This is not going to be a triangle. It's going to be a list. Approach. And then I guess I'll call it whiff punish. And what I mean by whiff punish is, like in this instance, potatoes, you outspaced the Nair. You ran away from Nair. You made it whiff. And then, in this case, you whiff punished the jab. He jabbed because he was trying to check your movement, but you went above it, and you punished him for whiffing a button, for missing, basically. The more you whiff punish, the less they'll approach. The less they'll approach, the more you can approach. The more you approach, the more they'll try to intercept you, which requires them approaching, which means you can intercept or whiff punish them. Like, if you only stick to one of these, so if you don't intercept very much and you don't approach very much, that makes the opponent, they don't have to make a decision. They just go, Zard Dog they're going to try to like make me whiff, make me miss a move. I don't have to make a decision on that. That's just 90% of what they're doing. So now I can think about how to get around that more easily.
Yeah.
But if you bring in, oh wait, are they going to be patient, wait for me to approach, or are they going to approach? Now they have to make a decision, and importantly, if they have to make a decision, they can be wrong. That sounds really stupid, but like that's energy that your opponent has to expend on what am I going to do, and if there's risk to this, which is if there is going to be, if I approach and get hit for it by Zard, is that worse than like getting, having to defend against Zard? Am I at up throw kill percent? Am I at back throw fair percent if I DI wrong? Am I at down air confirm percent? Like, they have to start running them, even with only two, they have to start running the numbers on their decisions much, much faster once you show multiple options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but last thing I want to talk about, this is going to be a lot quicker, is just that this dare, you tried this a few times. I think at this percent, it's not worth going for. I think you just want to take the stage.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because so if you hit this dare,
I
right?
think there's a kill anywhere.
What's that?
I don't think there's a kill anywhere in there.
Not from dare.
Yeah, not from there. Yeah, I agree.
So I think depending on the up air, I think there's a kill on fair.
Yeah.
Maybe on side B based on how late it is, but I don't think I did. Sorry, I think you never dare when you're this high because they'll just hold away, tech roll away, and be actionable before you land.
Yeah, true.
Later on, it's not Metal Cavern, is it? It's some platform stage. You're closer to the platform to where they'd have to tech onto the platform. I think that's a perfectly fine combo extender, but here you're just way too high up. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about, I'm going to skip around a little bit here. 45, 47. Oh yeah, this is the call out on the glide.
I do these too much now. They're too fun, but they are fun.
Okay, so what happened there was just kind of, it feels like you kind of just like didn't have a plan. What I mean by that is after this T-punch, there's no glide. I don't remember if he has a jump, so let's assume he has a jump. And you go to ledge. That's fine, but you need an option off of ledge here. Because he does have the distance to just kind of get back to stage. What you end up doing is you just roll on stage. Let me actually get to where he... So right about here, this is about when you press the button. You roll on stage, which doesn't occupy the ledge long enough for Knuckles to avoid grabbing it, if that's what he was going for. But it also doesn't give you any amount of time to punish him going on stage. So you kind of like put yourself in the middle of the two options you would want to cover here. So let me... Yeah, so pink would be if you wanted to drop low and try to sweet spot, you roll too early. And if you wanted to just go on stage, which is what he did in this case, the roll means you can't punish and Knuckles can move before you can. So that's... If you're going to commit to ledge like this, because it is a commitment, you can't... You either have to have a plan to hit one of these or commit to edge hogging a little more succinctly. Because like if you called out either one of these, then
looking at it now, I would want to just nair. I would want to just drop nair.
Yeah. Or depending on character as well, you could do like ledge hop up air, land, threaten fly, because they don't have a jump, so like it's your field day. And in your credit, by the time you see what's happening, it's about 15, 20 frames ago. It's a much different looking situation by the time you make the decision to press the roll button, and that goes to your fingers. But it is important to, if you're going to limit yourself by going to ledge, and give them their options. Like Potatoes gets to choose here basically because you go to ledge, and that's okay sometimes. You got to make sure that there's a wrong choice. Versus something else I think you can do in general, maybe not in this exact instance, because you need to get back to ledge from T-Punch. He does jump. Okay, perfect. So he doesn't have a jump here. With your 2 aerial jumps, even from ledge, you can cover this space really well for like a long amount of time. Excuse me. So you don't have to let them get close enough to stage to like go to ledge. You can just start jumping out over here, threaten a bear, will either kill or like send him too far. And you do this a little later as well, but if you can force the up B, great, he up B, you can still hit him, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of recoveries and edge guarding is just trying to create the best situation for yourself, especially as a character with multiple jumps and a good back air and like aerial conversion game with your aerials.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Weird.
Okay. That's something that you can also... You can practice it in the sense of, like, practice the mechanical aspect of it against the AI, but that is a... At the end of the day, it is kind of a human... Recovery is a very human thing, so it's hard to really get into. Okay. So, this is a really fun bit. That seems to tumble so early. I did not expect that to tumble. So this is a really, really good opportunity, especially when you get the late nair here. But unfortunately, he's just a little too far away. You don't realize it in time. And you choose another nair, which even though he up Bs immediately, he's still like a fair distance from. An alternative, I would suggest, is when you're trying to edgeguard, there's a very important breakpoint for can the character get back to ledge without using without like having to go into an animation. So like in this case, Knuckles will have to up B just to get the height, the distance to get to ledge, let alone stage. So there's no rush. You don't have to immediately press a button after this landing nair. You have time.
Yeah, that's true.
If he was closer, or if he was a character that had like, what's a good example? Maybe like Mewtwo teleport. He could snap to ledge from above, or Spacey Side B that could threaten Phantasm, or whatever those moves are actually called. Like I hear them called illusion sometimes, but Spacey Side B, the fast option. Then I think sometimes you have to get the fast move out, even if it's not the best option. But for Knuckles here, he can't get to this ledge. So there's no... When you do this immediate nair, because the range is... Like, this isn't going to work because of range. And now suddenly you don't have the time to do your anti-airs here. The ones that are really good but need all that startup and, like, recognition first. So you have to commit to this dash away. Or you can shield. Let me back up again to where he's above you. So something... I know you know that being a tall... Charizard being tall is not great in a lot of ways. Something that it is really, really good at. And I know this because I do this with Mewtwo, because Mewtwo's also kind of tall. People will hit your shield a lot higher than they expect.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you... For instance, if you dash to the left, dash right, shield, so that way you get your facing correct, you can shield grab this every day of the week.
Because it's already starting. I can see it already starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And additionally, even if you
People
shield...
do that to me all the time, and I don't do it to them.
It's a really good tool.
Yeah.
That's another way. We were talking about like intercepting and like whiff punishing. If you run up shield and they hit the button early, like especially with sex kicks, so like spacing nairs, knuckle nair, if they contact your shield earlier than they expect, that is much worse. That's much easier to shield grab than they intended. So that's one way to kind of, even with just a shield grab, to combat oppressive like spacing nairs, run up and shield. And if they do them to cover space, like as they approach, and it contacts your shield early, hey, you can just visually confirm a shield grab, which is great. And a lot of the times, I got into the habit for the longest time of assuming that even at this height, it wouldn't like it would be kind of close. I'd have to be really good at shield grabbing. You don't. Like I even looked at the numbers. So Nux Dare is -3 at best if he's like lands the next frame, and his jab is frame 3. So at best, his jab will come out like a frame or 2 before your shield grab does. And this is very far from best.
Yeah,
when he's
this is
high.
not the best. Yeah.
So that gave looking up numbers like that gave me a little more confidence to like go for this kind of stuff. So if you ever run into the situation, especially for like short hops, right? For like spacies, shines, you can just go to Rukai Data and be like, hey, best case scenario, how minus is Fox after Nair? Okay, what? I don't have the timestamp for it offhand, but I think I do want to make a note. Oh, here it is. Yeah. This is the third time you glide attack back when you have the opportunity to go to ledge, and this time Potatoes is ready for it. And it becomes a very damaging, like that can be a really, really harmful punish.
Yeah.
I know it can be scary to just glide to ledge, like with your snout out there where you can be hit, but sometimes you got to make him hit you. Like, you got to make him show that they'll actually intercept you before you go for this kind of stuff too much.
No, I'm pretty comfortable getting to ledge because I'm comfortable coming off of ledge. I think I just felt like he wasn't hitting his shield, or he wasn't expecting it enough, but I guess after hitting him twice with it, they'll start to be more ready for it. I think that's a problem I have where, like, don't expect my opponents to adapt enough. Then when they do, I'm not, like...
You're surprised.
Like, if I were like, okay, I've done that a couple times now, I feel like they're going to adapt, so I'll choose a different move before they show me that they've adapted, like...
Right.
So maybe that's, something to work on.
For this specific glide attack as well, the numbers are just not in your favor, both right now and long term. Because, like, if you hit the glide attack, you get stage. And if you don't, like, if they shield it, this could have been dare out of shield, frankly. Like, the punish could have been more than shield grab, but it's Knuckles, so it doesn't have to be. Versus if you go to ledge, like, your glide nils are pretty good. Like, you have that on lock. So you have actionable invuln from ledge. It's not the worst position in the world for you. You can fight back slow and steady where you're not going to get hit by, things that'll be kill confirms like Knuckles throws. Oh, cool. Wisely is rating. Thanks, Sam. Welcome everyone to coaching. I think this only comes up twice more throughout the set, but this is a big point where now Potatoes can get this confirm and can tie up the stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if there's anything else in this game, because it has been half an hour, so I think I want to... Oh, actually, there is... Yeah, my heart for that Thunder Punch. This is a really good example of like cutting off the options here. You hit the bear, or you threaten where he needs to up B, and then he up Bs and you hit him anyway. Because what else can he do?
Right, yeah.
You have 2 airborne jumps. Your bear is really, really powerful for that. It's just a good time. That's the kind of stuff that, like, if you can consistently do that kind of stuff, it's character specific sometimes, but if you can get that kind of like edge guarding, it gets really oppressive.
Right.
Like, Sour Spot Nair is like 20 frames long and will be a very bad angle to be sent at. And where it makes the situation worse for your opponent. And that's where you can just go down there and kill them at 30 sometimes. Because if they jump into it, they die. And if they don't, they get put in a really weird spot. Okay. So, I think... Y'all take a minute. Oh, that's why I didn't remember what it was. It's not Norfair. Metroid. This is Metroid.
Yeah, these are the weird Coast stages.
So
weird. They're just different.
Yeah, they're just different.
They're just different.
They're just different. They're different stages that have Metroid character, Mother Brain. That's not Mother Brain. So I want to point out this dash back here. One, again, I do want to make sure I give you props for this. You are very good at like knowing when the nairs are coming, when the approach is happening, and punishing it.
That's like my whole game plan, honestly, against this Knuckles. I feel like I totally know when he's going to jump in there and exactly where that's going to be.
That's great then. Once you add more options to either intercepting or punishing that, then you can really kind of like make him reconsider his whole like timing. Mm-hmm. That's a hard thing to get around. You realize someone like just calls out your timing, not even your options, just like when you're going to do something. It's hard. You have run up shield for the early nair. You have this. You already have this unlocked for sure. You have like a run up attack if they finally go like, wait, I'm going to wait. Oh no, I got grabbed. Mm-hmm. And importantly, those things all have different costs. Your dashback bears are very hard to directly beat, but sometimes you just kind of run out of stage. Even when it works, this is the cost. You lose stage until like high percent where you can just like hit them away and run at them.
Yeah, this is a problem now.
Yeah, this specific one is a mistake, but like even long term, the ones where you land on stage, it's like you can't do that forever.
Right.
That's why you'll see Marth's, and again, I'm using Marth as an example because Marth Spacey is very similar to this, where like Marth has to be proactive. And even though Marth, it does have better aerials for this. You see Marths, even when they have their opponent cornered, sometimes will hold their ground because they want that stage for later. And additionally, there's that glide attack again.
There it is, yeah. I don't like that.
And it's this, again,
I
like...
don't like that.
I'm not, the last time I'm talking about it, I promise. But, like, numbers-wise, there's also not a lot Knuckles can really do to you if you just go to ledge here. But numbers-wise, you're also only at 20, so...
Yeah.
It becomes a unfortunate situation. That nilled? That's wild. Okay, where is the... Okay, here it is. Yeah, here's the dare. This dare, I think, kind of, like, could work. Because they have that platform there.
I think I had up B, though.
I don't know the stage of Blast Zones. I'm not sure if it would have killed. But, like, the rest of this combo string, you definitely had up B if you wanted it.
Yeah, I could definitely hit it, yeah.
I think that's like, the combo string is a general thing. Very, very good at, like, mixing up when he wants to attack, where he wants to go, and just staying as actionable as possible. Okay, where's the next 4830? Okay, so, actually, perfect. We're right about here. You get grabs here soon. And I didn't know this either until this happened. This down throw, you never want to do this down throw against a player who's going to do this. Because here he just goes to ledge.
Goes straight to ledge, yeah.
Yep. You either want to up throw. Okay, that sounds stupid. I was going to say, you either want to up throw, forward throw, or back throw. But like up throw can just get them to the corner, like get their edge guard started, even if they're high. For Knuckles, it's not as great because he has glide, but it is something. And then, I don't know if back throw fair still works on bad DI here. But at lower percents, it's still a threat, for sure. And then F throw could just be like up throw, like send them away. Because here, you actively lose out on your pressure when they get to ledge. Okay, so here, the same situation happens, but at lower percent. Okay.
There's a glide attack.
Yeah, some of those do work. It's very good at keeping him on stage. I don't want to make it sound like it's never a good idea.
No, I had a weird infatuation with this set, it seems.
So this down throw is the same problem.
Same thing.
But I think this is almost a better situation for you. Because if you F throw here, he doesn't go as far. Which means you can much more quickly pressure with a neutral air or like a turnaround back air and start like covering all this space. He doesn't have time to deal with it or time to position himself. in a way that can evade your back airs here. And then you get into a little bit of a muscle memory thing here in a second. You hit a dare where he's airborne, and then you fly. So he's only barely airborne, but this puts you in a really bad spot.
How does that happen? I can't. Like, he's at 80 something %, and sometimes they don't pop up.
Oh, he was in the air. He jumped. See, that's the jump squat.
Oh.
He's in the air, so now he's a meteor, and he just goes to the ground.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah.
It's hard to see in the moment a lot of the times. But that not only does that give up your tech chase, that also, it's not a huge deal against Knuckles per se, but like, again, there's some characters where you really don't want to be above them. You don't got a way to land, my friend. You have your glide be reverse thing, and you have your when you come out of glide, you can be reverse again, and you got one extra jump, and that's about it. Okay. So here's another good example of Knuckles hitting your shield really, really high up. In a moment here. So here, this was a super guaranteed shield grab.
Yeah.
Like, this is the kind of thing that, this is the kind of shield grab that will make the Knuckles sometimes just land without pressing a button at all. Because this is so guaranteed. Being more aware of these would be really, really helpful. And like, because here, this jab, there was a bit, you definitely could have grabbed between this. So he gets out of jail for free here.
It's a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah. Shield grabs have a bad reputation, but they are very important for like keeping people honest and limiting how good a lot of aerials can be. Okay. Then I think the last thing I want to talk about, especially of this game, I think maybe of the Knuckles stuff in general. Because like you said, I feel like you do have a pretty solid grasp of Knuckles, especially with Potatoes timings. So this down air.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this real brief and then move on. Here, you don't quite realize you've jumped into the spring.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you try to jump when you don't have it and then you die. When you could have gotten on stage here.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine to jump, especially at low %. It's fine to jump into something if you know you're surviving. So, like, I think the logic here is intentionally jump into spring and just mash up B and take whatever punish you get hit by. Rather than trying to, like, finesse it to where you have your jump, because then it becomes like, wait, did I have my jump or did it get taken by spring? And then this can happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's cool with you, I'm going to go straight to the Ganon matchup now. Game 3 is a little bit more of the same.
Sure.
The only thing of note, I don't want to go to it, but he does miss a back throw DI at like 40-ish %, and you go for a tech chase instead. That's a really, really important thing to like be able to recognize when someone misses the DI. You can start your strings.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty much it then for game 3. Okay, so, oops. I had mentioned it before. You don't shield very much, which is not awful, but there are times against Ganon you just need to shield. Twitch, are you for real? Twitch? No. Why?
Wait, hello? I dropped.
Hello?
Something.
That's on my end. It's not your fault.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm replacing the router tomorrow. I thought this was fixed. Okay. Good news is that I am recording this locally, so it will be nice and clean on the VOD as well. Wait, am I back? This isn't loading.
I hear you. Yeah. No, you.
Okay.
It's just Twitch.
There we go. So, like I was saying, you don't shield a lot, which is it's good not to get tied down by shield, but there are situations, especially with like Ganon style aerials, you just gotta hold it.
Side B.
I mean, you can.
What it is.
It's not easy to practice on your own, but you can just reaction roll through side B. Because it's very visually distinct with that purple. Maybe not on this stage, because it's very dark, but... He, like, physically jolts back. He has a purple thing. And if you're not looking for a punish... Go ahead.
What do you think? What about, spot dodges the same thing, or would that be more risky?
It's a little riskier since you don't move out of the way, but it is invuln faster. So, and you can get a punish as opposed to just resetting. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing with down, because I got hit with down B a lot too. That's just I could do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing. Also, down B's a little harder to react to, frankly, but because you don't shield very much and you like to dash dance, the tip of Ganon's down B is right past the range of like Knuckles short hop nair. So that's why he's down being in that specific position. That's why he's hitting you so late. Is because you're used to like baiting that out at that range from the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big thing is that shield is just a necessary evil sometimes. If he's already in the air, it's so hard to contest. Also, this is partially just a character comfort thing, but like Potatoes and Ganon as well are just really, really much more significant at shield dropping with this character. Yeah. You have to worry about it a lot more than with Nux. Yep, covers that exact same space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I should have gotten the timestamp for this. But I want to talk about edgeguarding Ganon a little bit. Here we go. So... I feel you. I know, you know the T-punch, you know. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and it's actually like kind of useful to ledge, but not useful enough to use it as much as I do.
Yeah. So after you get this down tilt here, you don't have to stay on stage here. You can just like run off nair or short hop off nair, and then you sour spot hit him, and it like you can cover
facing forward, or turning around.
It's facing forward. You don't want the sweet spot. Sweet spot sends up.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
A surprising amount of edge guarding, almost all of the cast is just like hitting them with anything. Anything that doesn't send upwards.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I've edge guarded people with Mewtwo neutral air, with Mewtwo up air, with Mewtwo back air. Everything but fair, basically. So, like, especially if they jump into it. If you have a lot of active frames on your nair and they jump into it, all of a sudden, especially Ganon. Ganon's so bad in this position. Ganon has to up B. And all you have to do is get in the way of that up B. You have a wall to tech off of. You get all your jumps. You get, well, at least one jump back. I'm not sure about multi-jumpers, but because Ganon up B is a grab, you do get your jump back. Which actually comes into play. You're on the right side and you get up B away from stage, and you don't jump. I don't know if you could have made it with jumps, but I wasn't sure if you knew that or not.
Did I really have a jump back? I didn't know. I don't think I was aware of that. I think I know which situation you're talking about.
Yeah, when you get Ganon up B's a grab, and when you get grabbed, even by this aerial thing, you get at least one jump back. I'm not sure about multi-jumpers, but you get your double jump back when you get grabbed. In fact, the only situations you don't when you get grabbed are like really, there's like a really weird one where like, I think it's you get dash, like you're in the air and they like dash grab you such that you are not ever on the ground and they don't pummel you. Like it's something really, really specific.
Keep in mind that one.
You have jumps basically, and if you don't, might be. You should have at least one, unless there's a Zard thing I'm unaware of. So, where does he get you in the air here? So, actually, let me talk about this real quick. So this timing is very interesting because when you evade the side B, here. So right about here, you've noticed that he's missed. You have two options. You could go for the fast option of like grab. We'll just say just grab for now, just the fastest option, or you can go for a slower pressure option. Which in this case, you go for forward air. And that was not an incorrect decision. but you do the actual aerial too early. So here, can I do this in slow-mo a little bit? Yeah, okay. So notice how early you actually hit fair here.
Oh.
Like you had a lot of time to just like be in the air before you hit that. So let me get back to the situation. So if you just short hop, don't fast fall, and do a late fair, that's pretty decent on shield if you're a little too late. And it's also much more likely to catch not even panic, just like a defensive option that is necessary for Ganon in this position. Because unlike Nux and Zard, he can't he could jab, but aside from that, he can't dash away. He can't really do much of anything to stop you from hitting him. So he has to, in this case, he buffers spot dodge to call out, oh, hopefully Zard Dog will miss, and then I can get something, which ends up happening. But if you just don't fast follow this aerial, and you just do the aerial a little later, you get a landing aerial, which is really, really, really juicy. I know I've seen the way you use up air. I don't got to tell you how good landing aerials are. But the reason you would do the fast thing is if you were trying to catch them before they got the defensive option out. But that is obviously harder. You have to be faster. You can still go for the slow thing and try to punish the defensive option, especially for a character who only really has the universal ones.
I think I'm not aware that I'm not punishing the initial option anymore. I think in my mind I'm still punishing the side B, and really I'm punishing whatever is after spot dodge or the spot dodge itself,
Right.
I think that's my problem is I'm still oh, I can punish side B now, I'll do the fastest thing possible. Maybe I could grab, but if I'm not going to grab, I'm not going to be able to punish side B directly.
Right, it's going to be a little bit more of a call out, or you'll have to divert more energy to looking explicitly for side B to react faster to it, which then means Ganon can get in the air easier, which is a problem because his aerials are so good. A lot of the Ganon matchups across the game are just how well you can keep him on the ground, because between his jump squat and most of his aerials not being super fast, a lot of characters, if they bully him by keeping him in shield, keeping him grounded where he's bad.
Do you think I jump too much in this matchup in general?
I think a little bit, because you lose access to shield and your aerials don't match up.
I feel like I'm committing to a certain timing when I jump. He's calling out a lot. Yeah.
Especially with the up airs. When he gets those spaced up airs, it really is showing that he knows where and when you're going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on from this. I want to find. So the edge guarding. Okay, that was kind of saucy.
He definitely.
Late hit single nair. Okay.
Definitely went off on me a little bit.
So here, he gets a lot of these up airs as you land, because you do have the habit of burning your double jumps before you try to land. Especially when you're right above ledge. It was a little more significant in the Knuckles games, but when you're right around here, you would have a habit of double jumping twice before you started to come down or threaten that. You probably remember the time he was just charging up smash on the right side of the stage and you clip him with side B.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
I mean, that's fine. It was look at what he got off of it, right? He gets a tech chase off of the grounded one. And this was the aerial one too. Did he just?
Yeah, it's just the lean back is really annoying.
That's true, and I'm not trying to take away from how that can interact with your move, especially F tilt. But the more he does, the lean back has a lot of end lag, especially the airborne version. It's like Falcon is the same thing on the ground, but
Yeah.
they're both very punishable. So as you kind of can stabilize around the move a little more, they'll be using it less because you'll be able to you're going to get these punishes on this side B, and he's going to have to use it only for offense, not for like weird situations purely because why not? Okay, I'm trying to find where you. Okay, here, yeah. So Ganon's here. Your goal is to get him far enough away to where he needs to commit to a B move. In his case, up B, because you're not going to get him in this top corner very easily. But if he somehow does, great, because you can just kill him for wizard kicking. Because Ganon doesn't fall super fast, that doesn't necessarily make it much harder to hit him. His primary buttons for like defending himself here are up air, or let me say this, double jump aerial. Because a lot of his buttons aren't super great on the way down. So it's either up air or not even really fair. Like, I'll write it down just in case, but like fair is not great for this. He has his double jump. He can try to evade something. And then, no, don't say B moves. Say it's like early up B. And with the stocks right now, he could do side B as well. So if we go through these just real quick, I know we're running up on time here. I don't cut it 1 hour, by the way. I'm not like
whatever we got to do.
So if we want to look at like how do we avoid these as Charizard, we can definitely just, this is slow. So this is on movement and timing. This is kind of big and moderately fast, so this is on spacing. I think your bear can probably still outrange it, especially given that like Potatoes is not in control of his spacing near as much as you are right now. Up B is short range and also kind of slow, but I guess, how do I phrase this? You have spacing control for up air. Up B is kind of like both of those. Side B is, how would I say, reactable with a little asterisk. Because even if you do react to it, sometimes there's not a lot you can do if you're in the air about it. So if you want to build a very quick and dirty, like, step one game plan, how do we get around this? Okay. Notably, none of these hit below him. Up air hits, like, on the same horizontal plane, but if you can get below him, then you can hit him. Because he's not going to down air you. Usually. That is a concern eventually, but probably not yet. So you could, for options, oops, here we go. What you could do is turn around bears, always good. Turn around bear, and you have different ways of doing that. So you have run off, double jump the other way to get one height. You have simply like pivot, which just means run to the right, shield jump. You have like run at him nair. So I'll just do full hop nair. Try to get that sour spot, especially if it's a late hit. You got all that advantage.
I like the idea of some more like belligerent nairs, but just like getting it out there and not being super scared about it.
Yeah, because the reward on that's actually really good. Especially if you get a later hit, if you just barrel into him with a full hop nair, late hit probably goes into fair. He's holding in. Like, there's no way he's DIing a nair out here. You also have ledge, but ledge only a lot of the times when they're close enough to have this amount of options, ledge is just like for invuln. So, like the same way you'll see Meta Knights do like invincible buzzsaw in air from ledge, you can kind of do the same thing just to kind of hit them.
That's me all the time.
It's so obnoxious. And I can teleport, and it still sucks. They don't know how to edge guard. They just go bzz, bzz.
Bzz.
So, you have a few different options here. And then this is before even factoring in, what are Potatoes' habits? Oh, maybe, what are the less common options Ganon might have, like down air? Like, there's a lot you can get into with this. But I think just...
How does, like, float factor in?
For the most part, float can just delay these options. He doesn't give them new ones. So, say, float, delay, basically any of these. Because this does factor in if you're
wacky, like last ditch effort.
A little bit, but for the most part, this only messes up your vertical spacing because he's not going to use the cape move. It's bad and slow and not huge. So this just means that if you're aiming for him to fall into something and he's mashing float, he might not fall into it. So that does make it a little tricky when you're trying to space around up air or like vertically, but if he floats to try to avoid the juggle and he gets hit, he doesn't have that anymore. Now he's melee Ganondorf.
Nice.
So this is obviously a lot, and there's a human behind this as well. And there's execution involved with some of this too. Like this is not a solved edgeguard by any means. Especially on Ganon. Like even on characters with like bottom half recoveries, edgeguarding can be hard, but the fastest way to kind of get the game plan, get that experience, is like you were saying, just kind of like run out there.
Yeah.
And if you realize, I'm getting hit by up air, first off, you know that, hey, he's probably going to up air again. It's been working, right? And let me see if I can't space a back air, or if I can't time the nair differently, right? So instead of full hop from, running full hop, maybe you run off short, like double jump.
Yeah.
Or you go to ledge and let him swing at nothing and then hit him for it. Like, you have all these permutations on timing and spacing because you have all the control here. His vertical speed is set, aside from float delay. He's not holding away. So his horizontal speed is somewhere in here. And that's really, really constricting. He has to take a guess on what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and what he's going to do to beat it.
What do I actually do here? Out of curiosity.
I think full hop nair was a good idea. I think that just barrel.
I mean, like in reality, what did I actually decide?
Let me delete this for a moment. I think you went. Did you go to ledge here? You covered high.
Oh. Okay, I see.
Which is a thing you can cover, but it's.
Let him get down. He didn't necessarily have to.
Right. So all of these, basically, you were covering double jump. And in the same way that I kind of mentioned earlier, like if you get your opponent to make a decision on what you're doing in neutral, they can be wrong. Because you were worried about him jumping over you, you made a decision that ended up being wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that you should never cover this, but usually the double jump or no double jump that's the break point for the risky versus less risky options. Even for multi-jumpers to an extent, but especially for normal characters, like if he double jumps, he's betting it all on black, right? He's going all in that you're not going to do the best option to cover it. So in the same kind of sense of like just gliding to ledge, like let him prove you wrong before you do the very specific thing. Because if you do I'll say you do full hop nair in this situation, you might trade with up air, you might beat up air, you might lose to up air, but like there's more interaction to be learned from. Versus if you try to read the double jump and you're wrong, I mean, you don't get one. You don't know what he's going to do at this point. He still has a lot of his
Yeah.
options, even as he's down here. And two, you don't have a good move to hit him when he's like at this 45 below you. Your best option is to go to ledge and like get on the same horizontal plane or lower than him.
Is this something that's like? I know we're right at the time, so I know we're wrapping up. Is this something that's like? This isn't universal advice for all edge guarding, but kind of more characters that are more linear to their recovery. How you would implement like these sorts of way of thinking about it, I guess, or like the risk reward to like some of these options.
Yeah, a lot of this is character specific, especially like floats character specific. These specific aerials and recovery and like special moves are character specific. But the fact that like they don't have control of the movement isn't particularly unique. You know, your best reward options probably are about the same as well. So like if you can get it's a full hop late nair into forward air, that'll kill. If you can get a bear, that'll send very far away, maybe kill. Legend Vuln is still the same for you as it always is. So as you get more kind of familiar and comfortable with this, you can I'll give you another character. For instance, we can mock this up real quick.
Like a hard one.
That's any of them.
They're all hard. Yeah. like I don't know. I'm thinking like Lucario or something.
Okay, Lucario, great. That's actually a really fun one. I think there's a very interesting decision to be made there. So let's say Lucario. Oh, it's already blue. Perfect. That's on purpose for sure. So, again, let's assume he's about the same. Let's assume position right about here, where Ganon is now, and you're on the stage. You know, he has. So this is Lucario. Very serious Lucario.
Very serious.
He can drop straight about there. He could go right about maybe here with drift. So he's anywhere in this zone. That narrows down your options a lot. And his options, you know, you have double jump. His fair is really good. It's frame 4. It does start below him, which changes where you want to be. With Ganon, he doesn't have any great moves that go below him. Up air is about the closest thing he's got, so you want to be below him a little bit. Against Lucario, you want to be above him a little bit if possible. So like space your bear to be a little high. It also catches double jumps easier. He has Dare Stall, which is very minor, but you know, maybe something to worry about. He has Up B Snap, which is definitely something to worry about.
That's a big one.
I'm just going to label all this together. If he's a little higher up, he has Aura, like Auracopter.
That's when he does the down B nair thing or whatever.
Yeah, so he gets all that momentum, and it's not unbeatable, but it is very, like, you have to be looking for it to beat it. And
Scary.
It's a resource. Sometimes it's worth just, like, letting him do it to burn his meter. Let me give her some of this. You have Auracopter. He's a little higher. But I mean, when you really look at, like, your risk here, the biggest risk is, like, losing the opportunity. Because if you get hit by fair, okay. If you miss because Dare Stall, okay, what's he going to do? Like, he'd have to really make a big call out to do, like, Dare 1 side B or, like, fair side B or something.
Yeah.
Because this is not a character that can really land on you off stage. Like, Ganon can kind of hit you off stage and it hurts. But, like, if you get hit by fair out of your nair, okay, that's fine. Like,
Just reset.
yeah, that's information for next edge guard, right?
Yeah.
If he Dare Stalls and you hit him, great, that's stock. If he goes for the up B snap and you hit him, great, that may be stock. Auracopter, great, that's resources. Double jump out, okay, now he's above me. He can't, like, land on me. The dare's really good, but it stalls, so he can't land with it easily. So it becomes this, like, characters they all have their own options, but as you get more familiar with this, you can slot in, like, oh, okay, so Lucario, he has a move that hits below him very, very quickly. That's important. he has a unique minor stall. He can snap to ledge with an up B. And he has a resource that makes it not worth my time to interact with him if he's trying to do that. Okay, right? Also, something I didn't note about Ganon, partially because it's a little less than Lucario, but like my dude's got landing lag, which informs his decisions significantly. So if he has to up B and land on stage, you can just dare that, which makes going on ledge a lot more. Oh, that's the worst star I've ever drawn. Holy moly! Much better, I say to myself. That makes being on ledge a lot more like appealing. That makes him trying to sweet spot a lot more appealing. Mm-hmm. So, and this is also informed by percent. If he's at 20, he might not care about having to, if landing on stage. If he's at 90, he's gonna die if you dare him, and he knows that. Like, Zard Dare is one of those moves that even people that barely know what Charizard does know what Charizard Dare does.
Yeah, they know. Yeah,
they've seen the combo videos from 2017. So this is the kind of thing that, like, you can slot in, like, oh, do they have a fast aerial? Do they have landing lag? Do they have, like, are they floaty? Let's see, do they have puff aerial drift? Like, Wario can, like, weave in and out. So Wario's thing would be a little more like this.
Yeah.
And he's floaty, so he gets more time to do that. But as you get more experienced with proactively edge guarding like this, it's going to be easier to slot this in and be like, oh, how do I beat characters with fast aerials that in front of them? Oh, I just time them out, or I get Legend Bone, or I just get a read on what they're going to do. Or maybe if it's not a sword, I hit their button. Like, I space to hit their leg of Lucario fair instead of the body itself. Or maybe against some players or some characters, maybe you do want to just be a little more, defensive. Like, okay, I'll cover the double jump, and if it doesn't come, I can just go to ledge. Mm-hmm. There's not one right way to edgeguard, but there are ways to edgeguard that are ineffective, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah. And having a plan, like, because I think you started this out with saying, like, didn't really seem to have a plan.
Yeah, you cover double jump, which it's not bad. Like, that's nothing wrong with that. But you don't really know what to do afterwards.
Yeah.
So you cover double jump. It doesn't come, but you don't. One thing you could have done here is instead of the second aerial jump, you go to ledge here.
Yeah, I see that there.
Because then that puts him in a really bad spot.
Yeah, he's totally screwed.
98 either on stage or dies, and on stage at 98 dies. And to his credit, Potatoes does get the tech, but like, as you play better and better players, you're going to play players that input that tech because it's free, and then it's gonna be nice for them sometimes, Because like, there's literally nothing else he could have pressed there. Like, him pressing the shoulder button to tech here has no downsides if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think the edge guarding was the last thing I wanted to talk about. Yeah, okay. So to kind of summarize, against Ganon, especially Ganon, but in general, there are definitely moments where you just have to shield. You have to hold the minor neutral loss and shield because it's too late to do anything else. Mm-hmm. And that's perfectly fine. You can also shield offensively. Like Knuckles Nair especially. Those characters with sex kicks that want to just like cover all that space. If you just run up shield and throw off their timing, as a tall character especially, you'd be surprised what you can get. Like up B out of shield grab. And then with edge guarding, even if it's something very basic, like, oh, I'm just going to run at them in full hop nair until they hit me with something, and then I'm going to think about what to do when they hit me with that move. Like, if you just start somewhere, then you'll have something to do instead of just waiting around and like down tilting a recovery that is not going to hit. Like,
not going to work. Yeah.
But I do want to give you props. Like, I think your movement defensively is really, really good. You're hard to pin down. The only way that he's pinning you down is because he knows that you will so reliably be at that perfect range to punish Knuckles short hop nair. So he's only pinning you down because that's your go-to. Because you're primarily only using this defensive like whiff punishing distance. That's making him hesitate and making him delay stuff, which opens up more opportunities for you to either like actively attack him or like move in some way. Sorry.
And my last question.
Sure.
So between those three options of like, we'll call it whiff punishing, aggressing, or anticipating a move of theirs, that kind of triangle you made, do you feel like an even split between those is most appropriate, or is it or like dependent on the player and what they're doing? Like, I guess, or maybe the options that I have, like, how do I decide when is the time to do, a given one of those options?
It's neutral.
And I know that's a huge, that's a huge topic.
There's a billion variables that go into it.
Yeah.
To answer the first part of your question, this is both character and player dependent. So, like, if you watch some Captain Falcon players, they'll love. Here, let's say maybe Wizzy loves whiff punishing, and S2J likes intercepting. The character, especially the faster characters, usually can do a lot of this. But there are sometimes that a character, especially the slower and or floatier characters, like Zard shield pressure is just less scary than Falcon shield pressure, and that's okay. So Zard naturally, if this was some anime pie chart, right? Maybe Zard's a 3 out of 3 in whiff punish, 3 out of 3 in intercept, only like a 1 or 1.5 in aggression.
Gotcha.
And that's not to say that you can't be aggressive. If anything, that means that they're unprepared for it, right?
There are very like key moments where aggression will come in.
Right. I think, but the important thing is that even if Zard isn't the best in the game at aggressing, you need to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
The same way that even like, let's say Falco might not be known for whiff punishing, but you still need to do it sometimes, or else you're missing out on this foundational building block of like neutral and decision making.
Gotcha.
And some people just take to some of these more. Like, I'm kind of in your boat. Like, I don't like pressing buttons. I don't like making a decision on where they're going to be. Like, I'll take these two. I don't want to trust that they're not going to move. That's scary.
I mean, I keep being told by like the doctor will tell me like, oh, you have to run up grab. And then I see Kais do that too. Like, Kais is really, really good at those sorts of things where he'll just kind of know that he can run way in and get a grab and he'll get it. And I just don't know if like, maybe I gotta do that more to a certain extent, but I don't know if like fully I can commit that to my play. Or I don't know.
You don't have to do it a lot.
That's for me to ponder on, yeah.
I also think that I had the same perspective until I started watching a lot more PM. It's much scarier for you doing it than it is in actuality. Like, when you watch Kais run up grab, it's very fast. Like, it's not... Here, if the run up grab takes this much distance, that's borderline, like, that's where you start to react with Charizard run speed and grab range.
Yeah.
So, like, especially when you have that range, those threatening tilts, like, the better you are at whiff punishing, not even the more you do it, but, like, the scarier your whiff punishing is, the easier it will be to do the other two. So, like, for example, if you are one of the best in the world at whiff punishing, at making someone miss and then grabbing them for it, they're just not going to attack if you can't punish them for not attacking. And if you can't punish them on the way, if you can't like match them in some way. But and vice versa, if you're really good at like being aggro, but your defense, you can't stop them from doing what they're doing. You can't punish them for doing what they're doing. They're just gonna like try to out aggro you. So the important thing is not being like really, really, really good at these run up grabs. It's doing them just enough.
Enough to keep them in the opponent's mind that I could do it.
Right.
Might do it right now. Yeah. Gotcha.
That's the reason why sometimes, as much as you'll see Kais run up grab, sometimes you'll see him just hit them. Like, you'll be like, why did that forward tilt hit? It's because, hey, he's been run up grabbing. And run up grab is scary. And forward tilt's a little less scary. And then eventually, you hit them with enough forward tilts, they're gonna start going, I'm tired of these forward tilts, and start shielding. And then you bring the other option back out. It's that like cyclical nature. Except with more than two things, and I can't draw this.
and there's a million other variables, and the other person's trying to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, like you have, what are they like? What character are they like? What are the stock counts? What is my percent? What am I like? What have I done recently, etc. Like, there's so many.
I do think it is helpful for me to like kind of simplify it down to those really basic components, though. So that is really helpful.
Yeah, intercept isn't perfect. If I had time, I might be able to come up with like a better word or like phrase than this. But the point is the same. Like you have to mix things up, or else they're just gonna go, okay. Potato's gonna be like, okay, cool. Zard's really good at whiff punishing. I'm just not gonna whiff because I'm not gonna press anything. And then that can throw you for a loop sometimes, especially if you didn't realize you were kind of focusing in on one of these two. These two especially. I think this one's important as well, but like a lot of times I'll see players, myself included, kind of get caught up in one of these two and not realize it. Like the Spacey that loves pressing buttons and doesn't realize that they maybe shouldn't always be pressing buttons. Or the Brawl character that really doesn't want to press buttons.
You think I should start like pre-planning sort of routines of how I use these options? Do you think that's gonna box me in even more? Like, for example, like if I start off short hop bearing them a bunch and then I can already have pre-planned that now I'm ready to run up grab sort of thing like that. Or do you think it should just be more fluid?
I think that's great. I think that's if that works for you. Some people, they can just do it fluid. They can be completely zoned out, and this just works for them. And some people, they really like having like, okay, I've been keeping track of how much I've been using bear. I think it's time to grab. And for some people, it's everywhere in between.
I think I would like that. I think I would like that more.
Yeah, you can either I say fiddle around with maybe a specific number. I'm gonna get them to shield bear twice, and then I'm gonna go in for a grab, or maybe okay, I've now consciously noticed that they've shielded bear, however many times that takes. Now I'm gonna grab.
Okay.
It's the same way out of shield options too, right? This actually didn't come up in the set because you don't shield very much. But when you're trying to escape, like a Zard especially, trying to escape shield pressure, you got to mix it up. So sometimes you got to roll. Sometimes up B out of shield has a use, right? Sometimes you got to just jump to a platform during a gap. Sometimes spot dodge is really useful. And they all have a dozen different variables attached to them with risk rewards, and those are useful, but at the end of the day, you got to do new stuff. If you only ever try to spot dodge something, even if it works, eventually they're going to just start doing spot dodge proof stuff. And then you're out. Okay. So yeah, I think that's a good note to end on. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about real quick while we...
No, this was awesome. It's really helpful. Appreciate it.
Sick. Glad I could help, man.
Um, are you going to any tournaments in time soon?
Oh no, I'm done.
Done. Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Um, I guess probably LTC is the next one, depending on the COVID situation down here at the time.
Yeah.
It's already February, isn't it? Oh, it's already halfway through February. Oh Lord. Ugh. But yeah, how about you? You're going to be entering the net plays.
Going to Exodus is the next one. That's kind of what I'm
Okay.
gearing up for, I guess. As much as I gear up.
Sick.
But yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you go. I know it's later for you than me, so.
Okay. Thanks again for
Yeah.
booking. I'll get this VOD up for you. I'll start the upload tonight. No promises if it'll actually finish tonight, but
Oh yeah, no worries.
you'll have the VOD link and you'll have everything, yeah, without that drop because it'll be local recorded.
Cool.
Yep, thanks again for booking, Zard.
Thanks, Jasper.
Catch you around.